You're listening to How I See It, hosted by Han. You guessed it, that's me. I am here to motivate and inspire you with guests from all different industries and backgrounds. So get ready for personal stories of success, of growth, full of highs and lows, and of course, unapologetic realness. This is How I See It.
You guys, I am so excited to introduce you to Shruti Viradia. She's a certified health coach. She's a sexologist. She's the founder of Vira, the first of its kind South Asian-inspired sensual wellness brand. And it just launched this week.
It did on Tuesday.
So
Very
excited.
exciting.
Welcome
Yes.
to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I'm so excited to talk to you. We've never had anyone come on the podcast before to talk about like sex and the complications that come with like sexual wellness in general. So I am stoked that you're here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Please jump in. I want to know your story. I want to know how you got to even like wanting to start a sexual wellness brand.
Yeah.
So take us back, like where did you grow up?
Yeah, way back. So I am first generation Indian American, born in the United States. My parents are immigrants. Grew up in a very South Asian typical household, kind of conservative.
Yeah, I was going to say, break it down for people who don't know.
Yeah, did a lot of studying, was on a strict schedule. I wasn't allowed to have boyfriends. I don't think I met a boy till college.
Oh my gosh.
So, very, tiger mom kind of South Asian house. Definitely did not discuss mental health, did not discuss self-care, and especially not sexual wellness or sex. I think the first time I learned about sex was in health class in school. Again, not a lot of open dialogue. I also was a millennial, so growing up in the late, 80s.
Yeah.
It just wasn't talked about.
And I resonate with that for sure, because I told you, like, even on our call before we met in person, I grew up in a super religious conservative household. And so even for me, I learned about sex in like health class, and I still went to a Christian school. So it was very much like abstinence. It wasn't like, let's talk about sex safely. You can ask questions, etc.
Like you mentioned, it's not just South Asian households. It's a majority of households in the U.S. and the world that struggle with this conversation. Then, went to college, and I think it was just, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like boys and, sex. And the first time I did have sex was in college. And, trying to find the balance of who I am in university and being out there sexually is difficult, and kind of navigating what that looks like and finding yourself. I feel like I didn't really find myself until my 30s after university.
I feel like even if it's like not malicious, even if it's not intentional, if you grow up in a household where you can't be like your authentic self or even explore what your authentic self is, it can result in like a lot of identity struggle, a lot of mental health issues. Do you feel like that happened to you? Or did you think you realized it? Or was it college that was like, whoa, I don't know myself?
I think in college I was like, whoa, I don't know myself. And what do I really want? And I think that's a struggle for a lot of women, a lot of individuals. Going from a conservative household to free reign. You could do whatever you want. That was a struggle, and it took a lot of therapy and introspective,
Was there a
eye-opening.
moment, or was it just like many where you were like, okay, like, because I mean, to go from like that household, you go to college, you're like, whoa, whiplash, and then you're like deciding to go to therapy and really pursue more. Like, what was the kind of like the catalyst? Was there like a specific dark night of the soul, or was it more just like this gradual like
I think it was definitely gradual. And, as you grow older, you mature and realize what you're looking for in yourself and how you want to feel. And I wanted to feel good about myself and be happy and really be comfortable in my body. Sexually and physically, mentally, spiritually, all the things. So it was definitely a very gradual, getting into myself and becoming who I am.
Yeah. How do you think your perception of sex changed from like your household growing up to like moving into college to eventually starting a brand?
Yeah, I think, what we see a lot in the media and what we see out there is very, especially for a woman, performative. And a lot of stigmas behind, sexuality. And especially for a woman, like, how do I want to feel? That change and like seeing what I want and how I want to feel really made me think, okay, this is what I want to put out in the world. And I think that's what every woman needs to know.
Yeah, I think it's like very important to have this conversation, because I feel like even like for me, I feel like I'm a very like confident person. Like
Yeah.
I talk about mental health on a podcast. I like really put it all out there. I feel like I'm an entrepreneur. I have like that personality.
Yeah.
But still, for me even, like sex is still something where it's like, I don't want to say that like that wasn't what I like.
Yes.
And like I like didn't orgasm. So like,
Yes.
but I don't want to say anything.
Because
and
you
like,
feel embarrassed.
yes.
And you feel like shy, like, okay, is it my fault too? Am I the
Yes.
problem? No, you're not the
Yes.
problem.
Some women, I would say, don't even know what they like
Yeah.
because they've never even been empowered to explore
And
it.
I have a lot of friends who never experienced orgasm
Yeah.
and they don't know what it is.
Literally
and
so common.
yes,
So
very
common. And I feel like a
Yes.
lot of women are scared to even say that.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's not your fault.
And you don't have to fake it.
Yeah. You don't have to fake
You don't
it.
have to fake it,
I think
no.
women are amazing actors. Like we
Yes.
all have had to act. Everyone has faked an orgasm
Yep.
in their life.
Yep.
What would you say the root is of it? Is it like society telling women like, oh, like your job is to pleasure a man during sex? Or is it that we're not empowered to explore? Like, what do you think it is?
I think
for
it's all
you?
the above. You know, women don't feel empowered to do what they want and feel how they want. So you don't have a voice to say, okay, I didn't orgasm.
Yeah.
Let's try this or do something different.
Yeah.
I think there's so many things and it's just alleviating those roadblocks and just making you feel like comfortable in your body and say what you want.
It's really
do what you want.
interesting because I have a lot of friends who are single and like obviously to have safe sex, you have to wear a condom.
Yes.
And if you're not on the pill, especially, and I think like with this new wave, not that it's a new wave, but I think a lot of people are seeing the results of like what being on the pill can do to you.
Yes.
So a lot of us are getting off. It's interesting. It reminds me now of like how it was in college where like you feel almost embarrassed to ask a guy to use a condom.
Yes.
And I tell like my older friends about this, like guy and girl, and they're like shocked
Yeah.
that this is happening, but
Yeah.
it is. And I think it's this weird feeling of like, is he gonna think I'm a prude? Is he not gonna be into me anymore? And it's interesting because I catch it in my spirals and I'm like, where did this come from? Like I'm a confident person. I've never been embarrassed to ask men or anyone like
Yeah.
like what I need and what I want. And I do think there's this stigma of like, he's gonna think this, I'm gonna be viewed as this. And like sex has never, at least for me, ever been portrayed as something that's like for me. And I know it is. And like obviously I'm, you know, I'm open enough to talk about it and be like, yeah, like I'm down for a hookup, I'm down to date or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there's this internal struggle with shame about sex being for both me and
Yes.
him.
And I think a big root of it too is obviously what's portrayed in the media. You look at magazine covers, you look at social media, and then on top of that, pornography. Most pornography is geared towards men, and
Yeah.
it's structured. It's not, you know, organic.
Yeah, yeah.
You're on the front of your camera, and it's very performative. And when you have that in your mind, that's what you think as a woman I should look like, how I should perform, how I should, you know, engage with a man. But that's not true. It's completely false.
Yeah, to your point, I think like media really portrays like a performative version of the woman. It's funny, like you go into sex and you're like, this is what I'm supposed to sound like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I think a lot of women aren't in touch with like their body and like feeling things in their body. And so
Yeah.
they're just kind of
And
like
sex
trying to
is
go through the
messy.
motions.
Sex is
Yes.
embarrassing and awkward. You know, awkward things happen, embarrassing things happen. It's okay.
Did you catch that in your own journey, which is what made you start kind of asking questions of like why?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone who has sex has these awkward, funny conversations of this happened and
Yeah.
oh, like I queefed. Like
Yes. Okay. We need to talk. We actually need to talk about this.
You know, it's things that happen. And when I'm having these conversations with my girlfriends, it really brought out to light, like, oh my gosh, this is happening to everyone. It's just not me. You know, it's everyone. And we should have these conversations because it should be open dialogue.
Men don't have these conversations.
No, they don't.
So it really shows that like women are really paying attention to like every way they're being perceived, everything that they're doing, everything that's going wrong, everything that's going right, that we can't even enjoy sex at all. And then we won't even get into the fact that like most men don't even like know how to like deal with women or like any of our goods. So like I think all of it combined, it like turns into this like sacrificial, awkward, like I want to have sex, I'm horny, but then like I don't even end up enjoying it kind of situation. And I think it leaves a lot of women feeling really frustrated and feeling very broken when it actually might not even have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
I need you to kind of go back a little bit because I think people are probably listening like, oh, so she like goes to college and then decides to start a brand. But what people don't know about you is that you're completely bootstrapping your brand that just launched through your actual full-time job.
So yeah, I graduate, start working. I'm really starting to, you know, discover myself. I was living in New York City. Really, I was focusing on my health, you know, internally and externally. So I dove into Ayurvedic medicine because I'm South Asian Indian. Ayurveda is derived from Indian, medicine. Really balancing your mind, your body, your spirit, and keeping that in line. So, I started eating a lot better, looked at what I was putting into my body. You're working in New York and you're working long hours, and then you're eating crap food.
Yeah.
And it's just, I was just diving into Eastern medicine and to see how I could fix myself.
Yeah.
And, asking my grandparents about, like in India, what do they eat to make me feel better? What do they do? What do I eat for energy? Like do yoga, really holistically trying to help my body. So I really loved the Ayurvedic lifestyle. I actually became an Ayurvedic health coach certified because I loved it so much and I wanted to help my friends and family.
So cool.
And so it's not just about what you put in your body in regards to food, hydration. It's about what also is on your body. So I started making my own oils, my own creams. I'm a very, allergic sensitive person. And then on top of that, I was like, you know what? Let me make my own lubricant because I wasn't loving what's in the marketplace. It's a lot of fluff and a lot of products have glycerin. I was getting a lot of BV and infections. And I wanted something just really natural and organic and clean. And so in my kitchen, just started cooking up, my own oils. And my first lubricant is the Bloom. Gave it to friends.
Wait, I love that you just like went into your kitchen and you're like, I got this.
Yeah. Started, making recipes because through my certification, you also learn about beauty, what blends together.
Yeah.
Again, Ayurveda is about balance. So having that balance internally and externally in the products as well. And so gave it to friends. They were like, this is great. We love it. And it's funny because my friends call it the Shruti lube in the bedroom.
Dead. That's so funny.
When we first, started. So
were you making them all try it?
Yeah, I did.
You're like, try this lube. Let me know what you think.
I really did. I didn't care. I was like, give me all the feedback.
You're like, you guys can have sex. This is an experiment.
Yeah. And then started the brand from there and said, you know what? I really need to bring this out to the world. Being South Asian and having a rooted South Asian product with a sexual brand that's from a woman is really amazing. Most big sexual wellness brands out there are by men.
It's probably been a really like healing journey for you too, because to combine something that was like keeping you restricted for so long, and not even in a bad way, but just like a culture that doesn't like allow like exploration in that way, to like still honor that side of who you are and then bring in this new side, that's probably been like so beautiful.
It's amazing.
For you.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And also you're not mentioning the fact that you've been working a full-time job in finance the entire time.
So yes, I do have a full-time corporate job. Bootstrapping this, eating a lot of ramen and getting
so
this off
impressive.
the ground. Yeah.
No, it's so impressive. I just have
you.
to affirm, like, I wanted you to tell people because I think there is a lot of misconception of like, you can just like start cooking up in your kitchen and like I'm a health coach and like that's great. It works for a lot of people. But a lot of times like there is a reality of entrepreneurship that people don't understand. And like usually you have to bring people in and you have like to get funding and you have to pitch the brand and you've been entirely bootstrapping it yourself.
Yes, one woman show.
That's so impressive.
Thank
so
you. Thank
impressive.
You. Appreciate it.
And I think it like holds true with your mission too, because you like didn't want to bring other voices in that weren't aligned with your mission. And specifically, I think, and it's not like a hate on men type of thing, but like you didn't want to bring men into it either. Yeah. And a lot of the investment money does come from men.
Yes.
Tell me more about the products. So you started with the lube.
Yeah. So Vira is, we're calling it a sensual care brand because we believe that sexuality and sexual wellness is not just about sex. It's about body, your mind, your spirit, how you feel holistically.
I was going to ask you like why you call it a sensual wellness brand.
Yeah.
Like what do you think is the difference between like sexual and sensual?
Because I feel like you just hear sex and you just think sex,
Yeah.
Crude. I feel like sensuality encompasses so much more. It encompasses your mental health, your self-care, and your sexual health all in one. And I feel like sensuality is so important.
Well, I'd argue it's like kind of what we were talking about in the beginning. Like I think that as women, like we have not developed sensuality within ourselves. And like I know that's like a struggle for me. Like I can like view sexuality like, oh, like I'm confident enough to like show that I'm horny and that I want to have sex and I want to like go for a guy. But like what does sensuality actually look like? I think a lot of that is self-care and like looking at ourselves without shame. What would you say it was for you and like how did that like kind of evolve? Like where was it obvious to you where you're like, I haven't explored sensuality?
I think while creating the brand and really again learning about myself and what I want as a woman, learning that sensuality and pleasure is okay and to express that is okay when you feel good about yourself and you have good, safe sex that's consensual, it
Yeah.
feels good and it makes you feel good physically, mentally, and that all encompasses your sensuality and pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have that balance in your life because it supports also your physical self and, like
Yeah.
I mentioned, your mental self.
Yeah, I think it's like that part of it has always been kind of uncomfortable for me, like
Yeah.
exploring like what does it feel like to actually like view myself as like sexy and confident and beautiful and feminine. And so I think a lot of people probably listening like, well, I don't know how to explore that side of myself. And I think for me it's been like, okay, like I am going to use a product like your body oil, like put it on after I take a shower, like stay in a robe. Like I
Yeah.
don't need to like rush into my
No.
routine.
Yeah. These products are unique because, it overlaps both sexuality and sexual wellness and body care.
I love that. I think a lot of people might be listening. I mean, our audience is mainly women. We're over 90% women. And they're like, that sounds great, guys. Thanks for the advice. But I like can't do it. Like, I'm embarrassed. I like go into the bedroom and I can barely get out of my head. And you're asking me to like bring products into the bedroom.
Mhm.
So, like, where do you think it starts for people, especially as like a coach and a sexologist and now the founder of this brand? Like, where would you have people start when it comes to like building confidence around saying what you want in the bedroom and also like bringing products into the bedroom?
I think even like the simple thing, like you mentioned, take a bath, just indulge in yourself for maybe an extra minute or two.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and say, I'm really beautiful. Get naked in the mirror and look at
Mhm.
yourself. I feel like that's really hard for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I think that little step, just looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, like, I'm beautiful. I feel like healthy and sexy, just that one step. And then doing little routines. We're really about ritual and routines, lighting a candle, reading a book. I feel like relaxing at the end of the day, reading a book with a candle makes me feel sexy and a nice little
Yeah.
lingerie set. It's like little things you could just incorporate into your life that make you feel good and spend that extra minute on that really helps.
Yeah, I think like reframing sex as something like that like we want to do and get to do for us. Back to our point about it being like performative, I think like a lot of the shame and charge and like nervousness around it is like the perception. And it's
Yeah.
funny because like men don't care if they're like body rolls are like a certain way
They
or
don't care at all, no.
if they're sweating or whatever,
Yeah.
like it's very much primal and like for like their satisfaction. And
Yeah,
like we should be able to do that
you should.
too. And then I think a lot of women struggle as well with like having good sex.
Yes.
And I think like half of it is like, it's hard because I think it's like a domino effect. Like all these things affect different things. But I do think like we do have autonomy. You have to say what you want as well.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the women who are actually like nervous to speak up? Like what are ways that women can like
I
frame
think a
it?
really good first way is to masturbate and explore your body yourself
Please talk about this. I feel like it's so taboo.
because I also know a lot of women who feel embarrassed to masturbate. It's not shameful
Yeah.
and there shouldn't be any stigma to it, to touch yourself. I feel like that's key to explore how you want to feel, and you exploring your own body is the first step to understanding how is someone else going to then explore my body.
Yeah, people think that they're just owed good sex. Like they
Mhm.
think that like, oh, I'm having sex, like it's either going to be good or bad and it's the other person's responsibility whether you're the male or female. I am straight. A lot of people expect like, okay, well, I'm going in and like they're supposed to give me good sex. I
Yeah.
think we need to reframe a little like it is not the other person's responsibility to know exactly what you like and like to give you like the time of your life so that you can leave being like, wow, that was
That was
amazing
amazing.
sex.
Yeah, and if you don't know what you like, how is the other person gonna know?
Yeah.
And I think that is step number 1 to really explore yourself and
Yeah.
not be ashamed about it because you shouldn't feel ashamed.
When you were coming up with the products, what made you well, you started with the lube, but like what made you decide to go different directions? Like what made you decide like, no, we're gonna come out with like a mist, an oil? Like tell me a little bit more about like the process of starting the brand and realizing like, oh, I actually have something good
Yeah, so
here.
it started off with the lube, and then again, because we're a sensual care brand, I wanted to bridge sexual wellness and body care.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create products that work well together as a unit and are multifunctioning.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to create a spray that was, a body mist that helped with, okay, if I'm at the gym, I spritz myself. It helps with, alleviating my skin and calming my skin down. But I also want to use it before or after sex. If I'm going to have sex, I want to then have a spray that calms my skin down or before, give a nice little refresh.
Yeah.
And that evolved then to, the body oil where I wanted a massage oil, but I wanted it to also be a moisturizer. So you could use it as just a body moisturizer or a massage oil. That led to then, creating an oil that warms on contact. So one of our oils, when you put it on, it starts like warming the body and the skin. A lot of women who get climax or to, heighten sensation. And then the last product was creating a latex safe lubricant that's aloe based.
Wow.
So to make sure we have a nice, well-rounded assortment.
It's so cool listening to you because again, I'm just picturing like this girl who like was in finance and is grinding and then all of a sudden is starting this sexual wellness brand. Like, where do you think the confidence to just like decide to start a brand comes from?
I think really, it's a interesting question. I really think the confidence was after I felt really comfortable in my body and my skin and I found something that I was passionate about. I was like, I need to tell everybody about this. And I
Yeah.
love it. And I'm so passionate about it. And when you're passionate about something and you just want to scream it out from the mountains, you just put it all into what you're doing.
I really agree with you because I think that like a lot of people will even say for me like, "Oh my God, like you're a go go go, you're doing all of these things." Like and I like I'm proud of that. Like I'm proud that like people can see that I'm an executor because that's definitely like a strong suit of mine, but I do think it makes it easy to execute when you would like die for what
And
you're
it's so
doing.
cliche. Everyone says, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work when you love it.
No,
It
and
really
I think
doesn't.
like you have to be purpose driven. There has to be something, but to your point, I think like it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And though it's chaotic, like work is hard on some days.
Yeah.
There's hard things, there's hard days, but like it makes it really easy to execute and really easy to like calm down or quiet the limiting beliefs and the imposter syndrome when you love what you
Me
do.
too. Yeah.
Did
Very true.
anything pop up for you, like, as you were creating the brand? Like, I always say that, like, entrepreneurship is, like, a mental health journey in itself. Like, was there anything in the process where you're like, "Whoa, I haven't dealt with that yet?"
Because of what the product is and it's because, it's sex-based. I think, like, having the conversation with my parents saying that I'm starting
Please, I was literally gonna ask you, like, how was that and how did they feel about it?
I think that was really, I kept it on the down low from them for quite some time. I was first saying I'm creating a beauty brand and didn't really tell them what exactly I was doing. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm starting a sexual wellness brand. They're like, what? What do you mean? I'm making lubricant. And, interestingly, they were really happy about it
Oh,
and
that's
really open
interesting.
about
I
it. And
love
they're
that.
all on board, fully supportive. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's funny when, like, I don't know, like, you grow up in, like, a certain environment, and then you get older and you're an adult, but then, like, you're still scared
Yeah.
to, like,
It
tell
never
your
it never
parents
stops. I could
things.
be 60 and still scared, to tell my parents
So
something.
funny. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm like that, and I'm like, I need to, like, remember that, like, I am autonomous. I, like,
I'm
I
grown
have
up.
my own life.
Yes.
Like, I think it all goes back to, like, shame, like, a
Yes.
deep-rooted shame, and I'm really trying to, like, work on, like, letting go of some of the constrictions that, like, have built up a lot of my identity.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've had to, like, pull down, like, a lot of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like, to your point, really take down the wall of shame and say, this is not shameful.
Yeah.
These conversations are not shameful. It's okay to openly talk to my parents about sex, and my family
Mhm.
and, of course, my friends. And so it's definitely a learning process. But as you grow and learn and become more, confident in yourself and be in tune with yourself.
At least for me, like, when things pop up, like, especially, like, since I grew up in, like, a very religious household, like, I feel like I'm very judgmental, and I, like, don't wanna be that way, and so I feel like my gut reaction, I always have to, like, "Okay, like, that's hardwired, but, like, that doesn't have to be, like, who you are or what
Yeah.
you want," and I think, like, being curious and asking yourself questions of, like, "Why do I feel shame around, having sex? Is it
Yeah.
because this is a value of mine, or is this something that, like, family, society, religion has put on me?"
Yeah. 100%. Going through like my sexology certification and class, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Like we bring up shame, and it's, you know, realizing that, for example, if you're with somebody and they like a certain something that maybe you
Mhm.
don't like, being open to the conversation and having conversations and having that dialogue is just really important. Saying, okay, maybe this kink is, exploratory and I
Yeah.
can be open minded about it. and have a conversation, because all you need is just to have a conversation and a dialogue to, really bring down that kind of wall.
A lot of women, like myself included, but I feel like I've really worked on it. They want to know like, well, what do I do to like get over like how I feel? Like I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't want to be rejected. There isn't really like a quick fix. I think the reality is like it just takes courage.
It does,
Like
yes.
there's so much courage involved
To be brave.
in like healing.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, if it's like working through childhood trauma, if it's like rewriting an identity, but specifically for women around sex, like it just takes courage.
Yeah.
There's so much shame around pleasure and being honest, around boundaries, around our body. And I think a lot of women, honestly, have bad sex, like as a result of it.
They do,
Like I
yes.
swear to God, I can count on one hand, like the amount of like good sex, like or sexual partners
You're not
that
alone.
I had
Yeah.
out of like, I don't want to say the many, like to sound like that, but like I'm
Don't be shameful. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm 29. Like I've
Yeah.
obviously had sex with like multiple various people.
Yeah.
And like I swear to God, I can count on one hand. And I don't want to say like it's the man's fault. Like I actually think it's, I don't think it starts with me. Like the same way I always say, like, I don't think like the way I view the world like started with me, but it's now my responsibility. And I think the reality is it takes courage.
It does. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery.
Do you feel like you look back in your own story and can see the moments where you were like, fuck, like I had to do that. I had to say that. Like, how did you build up the courage? Did you just rip the Band-Aid off? Was it a decision one day?
I think it was just a gradual change, looking at myself and being like, I can be brave.
Yeah.
And just like starting a brand, I'm going to be brave and start my own company.
Yeah.
And taking that leap and being like, you know what? I'm going to be vocal and say, I didn't like how that was done, or I want you to do X, Y, Z. And just I don't give a shit,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say what I want to say.
The lack of bravery and courage, I think, in women, and again, like it's not our fault. Like I think it's been in media, since a little girl, like portrayed that like you get married, you're like the girl,
You're a
you have
virgin,
sex, like
yeah.
you please the man, like all of that. But like it's our responsibility now to like rewire that.
Yes.
I think as a result, like a lot of women are struggling with their sensuality. I haven't had sex in so long. I genuinely feel like I'm going to get sick because it's been so long. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm horny, but I'm not. My friends feel the same exact way. Like we'll be joking, like I haven't been kissed in so long, but like too much effort.
People out there could be difficult.
Yeah.
It's just I don't want to put up with XYZ kind of BS. Yeah.
But I also think like, I don't know, like I think it's an easy cop out to say that it's like someone else.
Yeah.
In like the same way we're talking about like, I don't know, like bravery and courage and how you have to take like the reins of like your sexual experience, of your life, of your mental health. So I feel like in some regard, we're almost like speaking over it ourselves, but I feel like it's because like we haven't explored sensuality and what that actually means to us.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it's due just to like social media and, a lot of external kind of influences a woman can have.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's just, you just say F it to all that and just be who you are.
What are 4 ways that we can like optimize our sex life? Like especially with the brand.
The warming oil is amazing.
Okay.
For heightening sensation. So you could put it, for example, like on your nipples, and it helps warm the body. You can also put it on your clitoris, and it's external only, so you don't put it inside, but it just really elevates sensation. I think number 2, like masturbating really, I think elevates anyone's sex life. Again, you really need to know like what you feel and how you feel before someone else can make you feel that way.
Yeah, like you can't make them guess.
Yes. And I think any of these products are great with that. Both lubricants are great for accessories, toys, like anything you would like. I think the massage oil, I think just to get in touch with your sensuality, using the nectar massage oil and body oil is just great. It has a great like sandalwood scent, so it feels like you came out of a spa. Just putting that in your bath or, after a shower, massaging that into your body and just in the mirror just makes you feel good.
It smells so good.
Thank you.
I was experimenting with it and I was like, this is such a nice product. And I love the branding too. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And I think you got 4, but I would say with Dew, that is a body mist spray and it has a rose scent to it. Again, it's very calming and, I like it because it helps if you have sex to kind of calm your skin down.
Yeah.
So
you can like put it on yourself.
It's a spray. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Spray. Yeah.
I love it. I love that you're giving directions. Because again, I feel like people, even with like sex toys, sex products, like they don't even know what to do with it. And like they're scared to ask.
Yes.
And I guess you could ChatGPT it. But again, I think it takes courage to even, and I don't know why it's a thing, but I think it even takes courage to sit on a podcast and be like, yeah, like you're not going to put this inside. You can put this on top. You
Yes.
can
And
use
everything's on
this.
the website too, or, you know, on the
We
packages.
have
Yeah.
instructions. We'll put it in the description
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
What would you say to someone that's listening who wants to start a brand, but they're in corporate or they're in 9 to 5 or they're like doing something else and they're like, I have an idea for something, but I don't know if I can take the leap. Like, what would you say to someone in that
You know, I
position?
think like the overarching theme, like just be brave.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't do it, you're never going to know.
Yeah.
And if you don't try, you're never going to find out what can happen. So at least try and be brave and have courage and take that leap of faith. And if it doesn't work out, at least you could say you tried.
Yeah. I always say that. Like, even with like, I don't know, like in regard to rejection, I think like women have a really hard time with dating because they're like, well, what if he doesn't like me? What if he rejects me? But I think it's like you didn't have this person to begin with, or like you didn't have this business to begin with. You're in
Yeah.
a position where you're like working and doing something and you have a curiosity. Like the worst that can happen is that you still don't have it.
Yeah.
But I do think we build up the charge in our head about a lot of things.
Yeah. No, we really do. And I feel like it's a roadblock for a lot of women, a lot of people, not just
Yeah.
women,
Yeah.
you know, because they don't want to fail. It feels bad to fail,
Mm.
you know, but we fail every day at little things and we get
Yeah.
over it.
Failure is an interesting word that we've like attached to just like learning things because like everything that has not worked out for me has led to something working out
Yeah.
because I had to like learn to get there.
Yes. You know, something doesn't work out, you fix it, and then you make it better.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just keep learning. Every day I'm learning something new in this industry, and it's a constant. But that's what makes it fun too. You
Yeah.
know, failing is also kind of fun, and you grow from it, and you do better from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a choice,
Yeah.
right? Like we all have choices, whether it's in the bedroom, making a choice for yourself to like put yourself first, or a choice to like keep moving, or a choice to view something that's like I guess negative as like a positive and a learning lesson is I think what like catapults us forward.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the brand just came out this week, but I know that you guys won an award
We
already.
did. This won third place in the
Oh my
Sexual Health
gosh.
Awards, and this is the body spray. And
That's
then
so
the
cool.
finalist was Ember, which is the warming oil.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
so
And you know,
awesome.
we're in the running for some other awards too. So soon to come.
So
Fingers
exciting.
crossed. Yeah.
I know that the award actually mentioned that you guys are, is it that you're a clean beauty product?
Yes.
Can you get into it? Because I feel like clean beauty is kind of complicated because like everyone's just saying they're
Everyone
clean
just
beauty.
also kind of throws around now clean beauty. It's definitely, I think, a little greenwashed, but we are all EU clean certified. So EU has higher standards for their beauty products. So all our products are EU clean ingredients that won't harm skin.
Is that not normal for like a lot of sexual wellness brands?
No, it's not.
That's crazy.
And I hope it changes. You know, I think a lot of people need to look at because it's going inside your body, not
That's what I
just on your
mean.
skin. So you really have to be careful with that. Yes.
Well, and I think this like kind of goes to like what we were talking about earlier about how like we're taught things from such a young age and like there are things that just like continue on that you don't question. We don't educate ourselves. We don't look deeper. We don't do like any of like the work that it takes to actually be healthy or comfortable.
You know, when I was exploring Ayurvedic medicine to make sure what I was putting in and outside was good for me,
Yeah.
and then actually reading labels and doing research on the products that I was purchasing,
Yeah.
really made me hone into making sure our products were clean and not just, saying they're clean, really actually being good for you
Yeah.
and not harmful to your body.
Are there any other things in your routine that like kind of contribute to overall sex health, physical health, mental health that you are like non-negotiables for you?
I mean, going to therapy for sure. I go
Do you still go once a week? Me
once
too.
a week. That's definitely a non-negotiable. You know, I think with everything going on, just finding some time for peace for myself. I love to read fiction books. So at night, I like to unwind by just, like I mentioned before, lighting a candle and reading my book and kind of falling asleep to that. I think just at least an hour of downtime to myself is a
Yeah.
non-negotiable, whatever that is. But for me, it's reading.
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading Babel.
Ooh, what's it about?
It is kind of set in like a dystopian future where language is used as a source of power to create magic.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, it's like a nice
Yeah.
escape too. And I think it's probably why I've like struggled with developing my like sensuality is like I feel like I'm actually like kind of just very serious. Like I have like fun.
I'm gonna read the fiction books. Like
I know. As I'm saying, like I don't really have like a lot of escapes. I'm
Yeah.
like very deep thinking and existential.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
my
I'm
escape.
const-
Reading is definitely my escape. I prefer
Yeah.
that to TV.
Well, and I
and
think it's a
watching
good
shows.
example of like you don't have to like do the stereotypical things that you see in, TV or media to like feel sexy.
Yeah.
Like I think sexuality and like sensuality is just about like honoring your authentic self.
I agree. Yes.
And like kind of going back to like what we were talking about with like our own stories and like where we grew up, I think again, like that was why I had like so many issues and like why I like was struggled so much with depression and anxiety. Like it was like I couldn't be authentically aligned. What do you think is the thing that you're working on right now in like this stage of your life?
I think that right now I'm trying not to compare myself to others, especially being an entrepreneur and starting my own brand. I feel like comparison is, the thief of joy, and I want to be really engaged in what I do and
Yeah.
not have the mental roadblocks of, oh my God, I'm here and someone else is here and, someone else's journey could be there and that's not your journey.
Yeah.
So I think that's really something I'm working on, just both in my personal life and in my, corporate life, both
Yeah.
for my corporate job and for my entrepreneurial venture, because you could just keep,
Spiraling.
spiraling on, what if, who if, and who's doing this.
Yeah. Do you
So
think you've always been like that, or do you think it's just like the new phase of
I
like
think
being
I've
an
always been like
entrepreneur?
that. So I've been working on it.
It's really hard to ignore those tendencies, especially in this day and age. Like
Yeah,
there's so
it
much
really is.
access to people's
I liked it
lives.
without Instagram when no
Yeah.
one knew what you were doing. Yeah.
So you feel even as like a young girl, you were like looking around and like comparing yourself.
Maybe not young, but definitely I think after college,
Yeah.
especially when getting into New York City and the working, that really started to spiral.
Well, it's like a different environment here in the sense
It's a
of
different
like
animal.
everyone is very ambitious here
Yeah.
and I love it because I visit.
Yeah.
So it like feeds this like dark side of me that's like
Yeah.
grind, 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 no sleep. But I feel like everyone's always like, you're so New York. Like, why don't you move here? And I'm like, because I live somewhere that like grounds this part of me because no one is like, I don't want to say no one's like this in San Diego, but it's not a part of the culture and it's very much a part of the culture
Yeah,
here.
it's a
And I
different type
think
of
it can
animal here.
impact your mental health.
It really does. And everyone's go, go, go. There's no rest. You don't take a lunch break. And I think that everyone, like you mentioned, is so ambitious. You don't get a break.
You mentioned that you're millennial. Do you feel like that generation struggles a lot more to like talk about vulnerability, mental health,
Oh,
like
for
going to
sure.
therapy?
Yeah, for sure. Because we never grew up on it. Our parents never had those conversations. And now a lot of us also are, raising kids and families and struggling to have those conversations.
I have actually like a really big community that listens that's millennial. Like it's
Mhm.
actually more millennial than it is Gen Z. What would you say to someone who's listening who's like struggling to not admit, but like be open to self-exploration, sensuality, therapy?
It's really to ask yourself the question of, am I happy? Then what's making me not happy?
Yeah.
Am I not having, these conversations about my mental health? Or am I not having these conversations about my sex life?
Hmm.
And trying to work and like write that down and say, like, how can I improve this?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I did too, especially when starting therapy. And that made me continue, really just open my mind saying, I'm not happy because of this. So how do I improve this in my life?
I think the interesting thing is that like a lot of people think that to explore mental health and, sexuality or just like anything from the past, childhood wounds, that like it has to be done publicly. And I think it's because like people are seeing people be open now and it's like causing them to be curious about their own lives, but then they think that the way that they have to feel and
Mhm.
heal is publicly. Like you don't have to have a mental health healing podcast to
No,
be
you
able
don't.
to
You can write in a
heal.
journal. You can even talk to yourself in the mirror.
I always tell people like vulnerability and like healing is it should be your own
You don't need to
journey.
broadcast anything that
You
you don't want
shouldn't.
to. No, or
Like
feel
this is
obligated to.
like this community is so beautiful because people get to feel like less alone and they get to hear us have conversations about things that they're like, "Oh my God, I'm glad someone is talking about it."
Yeah.
But it's like definitely a business still. It's not like my healing. I think like what I've realized especially like over the last couple years is that I was almost like using the podcast as a way to like I don't know, like, cope a little bit, like, I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh," like, almost, like, bypassing a little
Yeah.
bit, like, I was like, "Oh, I'm, like, doing the work, I'm talking about mental health, I'm being open, I'm helping people," and I think I expected that to, like, "Oh, this will help heal me, and I don't have to actually, like, look
Yeah.
inward,"
Yeah.
and so I think it's realizing that, like, being on social media, having a podcast, and all of that is not the way to heal. And like, if you're listening and like, I can't do that, I can't be vulnerable, it's like, you don't have to. You just have to be real and vulnerable with yourself.
I agree 100%.
What sets Vira apart from other brands?
Well, like I mentioned, we are a sensual care brand, and it really encompasses, your body care, your sensuality, putting pleasure first. And I think that's really something that is not out there in the marketplace. And we are South Asian, owned
Yeah.
and founded and grounded, being
You're the
women
first
owned.
one.
Yes, first, complete first.
So cool. If there was someone listening who is South Asian and doesn't maybe feel as empowered to like start a business, like what would you say to her or him?
Just do it.
Yeah.
I was that little girl who was shy and didn't think that this could be a dream come true.
Yeah.
And be brave, have courage, and don't let anyone get in your way.
I love that.
And not just for South Asian women, any woman.
Yeah.
Anybody out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's important to have like more diverse voices and more diverse brands, not just because, we want to be inclusive, like, of course, but everybody's so different.
Yeah.
Everybody grew up with so many different practices, traditions, routines, and there
Cultures,
should,
yeah.
and cultures, and there should be brands that are catering to specific types of cultures, traditions, because we all are so different.
And the brand is meant for everyone, but being that, it's rooted in South Asian culture and has like the ingredients that are really, close to me and my heart, makes it so amazing.
What are some of those ingredients?
So for example, the bloom oil is coconut based. In Indian culture, we use coconut oil for our hair, for our skin, everything. It's really thick and luxurious and gives you that nice glide.
Yeah, Indian women have the most beautiful hair.
You have great hair.
Thank you. But I swear it's like a thing. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone's hair is so shiny and thick and beautiful.
The coconut oil.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
I have very like coarse hair as well. And so I should be doing
Coconut
that.
oil and then steam it.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, you need to turn me on to some routines. We'll talk after.
And then, for example, our nectar body oil
Mhm.
has tamano seed oil, a lot of, Ayurvedic ingredients that are just naturally hydrating and good for your skin. And, the dew body mist has rose water. Rose water in Indian culture is used everywhere for your hair, face, everything.
Smells so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So cool. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
so impressive.
Thank you for having
So
me.
exciting. I ask everyone who comes on, it's like the last question, like
Mhm.
looking back at like everything you've been through, the ups and downs of the human experience, the ups and downs of like entrepreneurship so far. There's so much to go, but just looking back, how do you see it all?
It's been a journey, a whirlwind journey. And I think I would tell myself back then and continue to tell myself, just keep going.
Yeah.
And no matter what, just keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that sets people apart who are successful and not. And success doesn't have to mean money or like achievements. Like
Yeah.
successful as in the people who like ultimately live to their highest potential. They roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And they keep going and they understand that like getting knocked down is like a part of the journey.
You get back up.
Thank you so much. Please
Thank
share where people
you.
can follow you, follow the brand, and then also shop the brand. And I think we have a special discount code, right?
We do. Yes.
I'm going to have it in the description. I think it's going to be How I See It 10, but make sure you look in the
Yes.
description for that.
Yes. And then we could find us at www.virasensual.com is where you could shop.
Love.
Our Instagram is at virasensual. TikTok is virasensual.
You're everywhere. I can't wait to see your marketing campaigns
you.
too. You guys
Thank
are going to
you.
have to
I'm so
be
excited.
creative.
It's just starting.
I have ideas. Like I saw this campaign the other day and I like thought of you because I kind of knew about like I have a friend who has a brand in the space and like you can't post anything without getting blocked.
Mhm.
And so I saw this other video and I need to share it with you off camera of like what you guys should do because it was so genius
Yes,
how they're like
please.
marketing the
Yes,
brand.
please.
Thank
I'll take
you,
all the
thank
advice.
you. Yes, I'm just gonna like text you and be like, look at this video. You should make it.
Please.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I hope you leave here feeling motivated and inspired. Do not forget to rate and review the pod on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to follow How I See It Pod so you can keep up with podcast updates and see who's coming on next. And if you're not already, come join the fam and follow at How Han Sees It. Thank you guys.